All right, Nom, why have you asked me to meet you at a recording studio? I'm a bit busy, you know. It's the day of the cup final. What do you mean the chairman's giving you a special job to do? Record a cup final song? Nom, nobody does cup final songs anymore. He's teamed you up with Slovenia's top producer. Oh, hello, Irina. Pleasure to meet you. You're in charge then, are you? Okay, we'll just go with something classic then, along the lines of Ozzy Ardiles, Tottenham, or maybe the Anfield rap. Okay, well, I guess you two know what you're doing. Here we go then, Slovenian Cup final day, us against Koper. We'll give you a full scout report later on in the episode. This is going to be a tough game. This is going to be our biggest test since we took over, I think. But we've also played some league games since we saw you last, and things are getting very tense. So that you can see them a little more clearly, I've reversed the order of the fixtures so they're heading up the screen. In our last episode, you were there for a very late victory against Alumini in the Slovenian Cup semi-final. Well, since then, we've played 2 games, we haven't scored, we haven't played our first team, and we've only picked up 1 point from a possible 6. We played the team that we're going to be facing today in the cup final, Koper, just 3 days after facing Aluminium in the cup semi-final. We played a scratch 11. Lots of our youngsters were playing. It was a really, really backup lineup, and it showed as we went down 3-0. We were 2 down by half-time. And Koper scored a third just after the interval to illustrate what a tough proposition they're going to be in this afternoon's game. And in the game immediately after that Koper fixture, we took on a Tabor Shazana side who were battling with us to try and secure that 4th and final European spot in the league. We tried to play a strong-ish lineup, but we couldn't afford to risk too many of our star players as the cup final was being played just 3 days later. We made 5 substitutions at half-time. We had some chances, but it was a pretty even game, and eventually we drew it 0-0. So here's the state of play with just 3 games of the domestic campaign remaining. We're in that 4th and final European qualification spot. We're equal on points with Domžale, but ahead of them on goal difference. Tabor Zhezana are 9 points behind us. Technically, if both us and Domžale lose our 3 remaining games, and Tabor Zhezana win all 3 of theirs, they could still steal that 4th and final qualification spot, but it does look like a straight shootout between us and our local rivals Domžale. Now, we could make things easier on ourselves by winning today's cup final, because the victors of the Slovenian Cup go into the Europa League. If we lose today, it all comes down to trying to snag that 4th place in the league, because if we could get European football for next season, I think it's going to be vital, because our club facilities really are not that good since our link with Domžale ended when we were promoted to the same division as them. We've got below average training facilities and youth facilities, average academy coaching, average youth recruitment, and it's not going to be good enough to produce the kind of youngsters that we are going to need to be able to challenge the top teams in Slovenia and potentially try and qualify for a European group stage. But at the moment, we've got no chance of improving these facilities. I've asked a couple of times when our finances were a little better, but we seem to operate at around about a £350,000 loss per season. Our stadium only holds 250 spectators. We're filling it. My concern is that the board might plunge us further into debt to try and expand it for next season. We've also got rumours in the background of board takeovers and chair people looking to stand aside. So there's a lot of turbulence behind the scene. I'm thinking if we could get into the Europa League, maybe win a couple of rounds against some San Marino or Luxembourg opposition, we might just be able to make a couple of £100,000. That means that next season we can go to the board and ask to improve those facilities. It's not looking likely at the moment, because Koper are obviously going to be a very difficult side to face in the cup final, and our position in 4th does look very fragile. It's going to be a very big end to the season. So let's talk you through the starting lineup for Dob's first ever cup final appearance. Goalkeeping was an easy choice to make. We do have a youth intake goalkeeper that's now turned 17. but he's promptly got injured for the next couple of months, so we're not going to have a backup keeper on the bench. We're going to rely on Giga Firmichet continuing to stay fit and not getting sent off if he does. We're going to have to find an outfield player to go in goal for the cup final. At fullback, our decisions were relatively straightforward. We would never pick anybody other than Ivan Makovic at left back. At right back, Zinedine's boy Timmy is without doubt our first choice. However, he's been injured recently. He's come back for the last couple of games. I think he's managed as much as 60 minutes. He's still not back up to full fitness, really. But he's going to be playing for us this afternoon. Mitrovic is obviously going to be the rock at the back of the defence. And we're going to partner him for this game with Gashpor Petek. Now, he's not averaged great during this season, 6.70. And Teddy Rams does have a good partnership, allegedly, at playing with Mitrovic. Although how that's possible when he's averaging close to 6.5, I'm not entirely sure. We're going to give Petek the nod today because he is at least built more like a centre-half. He's 6'1" against Rem's 5'8". Not ideal for a player playing in the defence. I'm sure you would agree. We do have some subs on the bench that are from the under-17s. This is Matej Shalaman, the player that I was most excited about bringing up to the first team in terms of central defenders. He's left-footed, he's 6'5", and he's fairly professional, but he's training like absolute dog muck and is giving the performances to match at the moment. So we're not starting with him in a cup final. Further forward, we're going with our usual midfield three of Avbelj, Kiglar and Kasnic. We did have a little call to make at the base of the midfield. We could have gone with youngster Mikhail Kavcic. Sometimes he plays well, other times he's way off the pace. He's going to be there on the bench if we need him. Playing Avbelj is a risk because he is a player that has decided that he's leaving on a free transfer at the end of the season. How much will his heart be in it? I'm not sure. Maybe he's playing for a move for another club and he might put in a performance. He has got a hat-trick from the base of midfield this season. So we are going to go with him. And then up front, we have been spluttering recently. We're going to go with wingers rather than inverted wingers or inside forwards. And we're giving the nod to Gajic, Levec, and up front, Grigorin, who's played as a striker for us this season, has got 10 goals in 19 league starts. I guess in terms of those statistics, that looks reasonably good. But he has been on a bit of a poor run recently. Checking out his form, he's only got, 2 goals in the last, 10 appearances or so? So I wouldn't have an awful lot of faith that he will be on form for us this afternoon. I'm not sure he's the biggest fan of the big games either. Neither is Gajic. Goals, I think, is going to be a problem. Koper are going to be very strong opposition. We're going to start on a cautious mentality and we're going to have a slightly higher tempo. So we're going to look to try and counter-attack with regularity. And when we go, we're going to try and go with a little bit of urgency because who knows how many times we're going to get the opportunity to press into Koper's half today. This is going to be a tough game as we're going to show you in the scout report. Koper, right now, are the strongest team in the country. Today's opponents hail from the Slovenian coast and the port town of Koper, where just inland you will find the Bonifika Stadium, the home of FC Koper. This side have 4 domestic cup wins to their name, as well as being the current domestic champions, and they're topping the table this season in their pursuit of a domestic double. Whilst we have a side comprised of players that were in the second tier last season, they can boast stars such as Morgan Schneiderlin, who's moved for more than £50 million during his career. Our team bus set off for the National Stadium that holds 16,000 supporters and promptly turned round when we found out that we were actually playing at the Mestny Stadium that holds 5,000 supporters and is the home of a Slovenian non-league side. Today is a meeting between one of Slovenian football's sharpest tactical minds and a bumbling buffoon from Birmingham as FC Koper take on Roltek Dob in the Slovenian Cup final. Nom will have to make this quick. We're about to kick off. Have you got the song ready to unveil? Okay, Irina, I guess we should give it a listen. Well, the front cover looks good at least, Nom. I'm not sure there was any need for you to be on it, but did you stick to the remit? Have we gone for something classic? Oh God, Nom, no you didn't. Not the Mongolian throat singing. 14 hours long. Irina, this is exactly what I was afraid of. Okay, we've got a 7:30 kickoff for this game. Earlier in the day, there were some domestic league fixtures as well. Domfather were in action. They've won their game 2-1 to go 3 points ahead of us and leapfrog us in 4th place. We've still got a game in hand. If we win it, we'd go back into 4th place. But our chances of winning our final 3 league games are pretty slim because we've not been great during the last, 2 or 3 months as Koper get this cup final underway. If we could spring an upset, and it would be a huge domestic upset, we will have qualified Dob for European football, the Europa League no less, in our first season in the top flight. If we lose it, we've then got to try and turn our attention back to the league, finish 4th, and get into the Conference League. If we miss out on both, it's going to be a bit of a heartbreaking season. As Koper head the ball away, and on just 2 minutes played, they are rampaging through our half of the pitch. They've got the ball through to Kotnik. Belge has a little nibble at him, doesn't bring him down, and they've had an effort early that Petek volleys clear. We're on the 15-minute mark. It's been a very quiet game. 2 shots for Koper, neither of which have been on target. Absolutely nothing for us in terms of attacking play. And we have another highlight now as Koper are in possession of the ball in midfield. Belge does a good job. He's worked hard. He's won it back. He's tried to release Grigorin, but it's Schneiderlin that just gathers up the loose ball in midfield. And Koper look like a good team. Look at them stroking it around whilst we are, just trying to chase them and win it back. We've done it once more. Petek's gone long again. This could be a byproduct of the slightly higher tempo that I'm playing on. I might need to look at that if we continue to give the ball away quite as regularly as we have been. As they send the ball towards our box, we head it clear, but we don't have the players up there that are able to win it and make it stick. They've gone ahead. I'm fairly sure that that was offside. He looked like he was at least a yard ahead. He was. Doesn't look like there's VAR in the cup. He's miles off. I think we played that one quite well. Nothing to panic about yet. We've kept them at bay for 15. We've made it past the half-an-hour mark. We've had a couple of shots now, not worthy of highlights, but we've got the ball. Could we try and do a little something ourselves? Levech sends it back to Petek into the midfield to Belge. We've gone long, we've gone over the top, and we've given the ball away again. I feel like a tactical tweak might be necessary. I don't see us scoring if we try to go long too often, Grigorin. I think the Koper defence is just too good for that. We need to instead try and force the ball out to our wide players and get in behind them that way. Schneiderlin seems to be everywhere on this pitch. What a player of his calibre is doing playing in the Slovenian top flight. I'm not entirely sure. He moved during January on a free transfer from Nice, and he has been a superb acquisition as Koper go close again. Maybe this will be our highlight. Mitrovic is on the ball. He plays it into Belge, who feeds it to Kigler. And now we've released the wide men. Gajic checks back, goes into the midfield. Zidane's backing him up. He's made a great run. He's beaten 2. Can he deliver into the box? He's had a go. He's going to have a second chance. Instead, he's fed Gajic and Levech. Levech is in. We've taken the lead against Koper. He's reined in like the proverbial salmon at the far post. And this is an upset. Slovenian football has just sat up and taken note. It was superb work by Zidane. He's fed it back to Gajic. It's a good looped ball in. And Levech, we've seen him do that before this season. And he scored a far post header again. Okay, brace yourselves, everybody. I know that Koper had that goal disallowed, but it was way offside. We've had 4 shots at the break, 2 on target. The XG is heavily in Koper's favour, but we are in the lead. Can we keep it up for the second half? Let's find out. So we gave the rallying cry of don't get complacent. We even pointed the finger to emphasise the point. The players responded. We've got no terrible performances out there apart from probably Mitrovic, who's meant to be our strongest defender. He's playing a 6.5. It's actually Petek that's playing better alongside him. Otherwise, we're looking good. Petek and Zidane are both looking like they're struggling for fitness a little. So we might need to think about changes there as we have a thunderbolt of an effort. Kasnic has hit that from at least 30 yards. I think he's taken that on the half volley. It's flown past the Koper keeper. I wasn't even expecting a shot from there, let alone a goal. As Petek, I was about to say rises, he doesn't. And Kasnic, he's just let fly. The keeper's probably disappointed not to save it. We're not disappointed at all. We're 2-0 up in the cup final. With an hour gone, it's still 2-0, but we fear the response from Koper now. We're still playing on that lower tempo, and I think I'm going to leave it that way just to try and keep us on the ball a little bit when we have possession. The Koper are coming forward. We are tackling like absolute devils back there and then promptly giving it away again. Now we need another challenge. Belge has made it, by the way, and we've got the ball and he's on it again. And we're trying to break forward. You can see we are being a little more patient. We've fed Grigorin twice now rather than play it over the top. And this is actually some structured, good football. Gajic sends the ball back. Zidane, Kigler. Zidane again, Belge. Can we work it into the box? Kasnic has had another go. He's hit the post. Grigorin's tapped it home. We're looking for an offside flag. It's not coming. We're 3-0 up in the cup final. We're actually dominating now. Well, not dominating. I think we've had less of the ball and fewer shots still. But we are 3-0 up and Kasnic could have scored another screamer. As it is, Grigorin breaks his long goal duck. And we are 3-0 up against Koper. So this is the play we've gone with. We've taken off Timmy Zidane and we've brought on Rems. He's not a right back, but he's good defensively and he's 5'8". So, well, I think he can fill in there. That could be a huge tactical error. And we've also brought on Dirty Den. So one of our players from our previous youth intake is going to be on the field for the final stages of the cup final. We've brought him on for Levesque, who was playing well, scored a goal, of course, but was looking very tired. So we've moved Grigorin out to the wing and Dirty Den comes on as a target forward on support. I think more changes might follow on 80, maybe 85 minutes. If we could still be 3 goals clear by that stage, I would be delighted. We might even bring a few of our youngsters on so that they can taste the occasion. I don't think Koper are out of this game yet, though, as they threaten once more. They were to score 1 within the next 10 minutes. I think they've got every chance of a comeback. We are now over the 3 minutes of added time that the referee decided to play. Surely Firmashek is just going to kick this and the referee's going to blow his whistle. We are playing between 2 youngsters at the back. They've managed to see the game out. Brace yourselves, people. We've done it, and doesn't that look like a better podium than the one that we homemade when we won the 2nd division? I don't know who that dignitary is, but he's shaking the hand of our keeper, Firmashek. He's kept a clean sheet in the cup final. He's now going to lift the vase aloft, and NK Roltek Dob have won their first major honour in the Slovenian game. We don't care about fireworks and confetti this time. It's on the FA's tab. We can let off as many fireworks as we want. And let's celebrate a little bit because we have taken NK Dob into Europe. And we're going to be playing some top sides from Moldova, maybe from Malta in the qualifiers. That is to look forward to next season. Now that we've won that cup final, the goal is to try and finish as high up the league as possible to secure prize money that might help us climb out of our overdraft. We'll see you next episode for the final game of this season to see exactly where we're going to place.